I heard a quote the other day that says that the fears we don't face become our limits. And in life, that's so true. We get too tied down on the fears that come along with change and growth and development, the uncertainty and the anxiety that comes behind making decisions that are going to impact our lives. And we get so tied down in fear that we allow those things to be able to overcome our desires for growth and to really impede us when we're trying to make good, positive decisions for ourselves. You know, for me, I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be a videographer, a photographer. I want to create fun content. I want to, ultimately, I'd love to be able to direct and write my own projects and things like that. But I get so bogged down by the fear of all the uncertainty behind it. How do I transition, if I ever do, from a life of management to being a full-time business owner? What does that look like for me? What does that look like for my family? And at the end of the day, the biggest thing that holds me down is the worry and fear that my stuff is not going to be good enough. My art, my talent is not going to be good enough. And when I allow those fears to creep in and they start to create self-doubt and they start to create a lot of uncertainty and stress unnecessarily, then it really hinders my ability to be able to be creative. It limits already what talent I do have and doesn't allow me to be able to grow and be better. So for you, what fears are you facing that are ultimately in the way of your goals and your aspirations in life? Is it a career change at work? Is it, a big move, maybe to another city or another state? Is it pursuing a relationship with someone? Is it personal growth, working on yourself, carving out time, and reprioritizing your life? Like, all of the decisions you make come with a certain level of fear and uncertainty. And the problem is, again, when we dwell on those things and we don't face them head on and we don't try to conquer them, they set limits for our growth and potential. So what limits are in your way today? What do you need to address? Where can you improve and where can you grow? It takes baby steps, but you do have to start walking. Just remember, progress over complacency. You got this. Hey boys and girls, welcome to the Friday edition of the Batmandrew Podcast, and today I come to you a little under the weather, and I apologize. I might have to cough, clear my throat, sneeze, whatever during this video, but I am here and I'm recording and I'm giving you my thoughts this week on the movie trailers that all dropped out this week. And so thought about skipping the video, thought about skipping the day and not posting today, but at the beginning of 2025, I made a goal for myself, and that goal was I was going to produce 125 episodes of the Batmandrew Podcast this year, and that was going to come in the form of 2 episodes of the weekly podcast on Mondays and Fridays each week. That got me to, with the 52 weeks in a year, got me to 104 episodes, and then the other 21 was going to be made up of various movie reviews, specialized podcasts, special episodes, that kind of stuff. So I guess I could have skipped and made up an episode somewhere, but fact of the matter is that there were a lot of really fun trailers that came out this week, and I wanted to talk about them. And so bear with me as I make it through this video. But yeah, let's just kind of hop on in. So let's start out with this week in general. So like I said, I've been feeling a little bit sick. I somehow made it through the plague of my wife being sick in the house and us traveling to Arlington with a couple of friends that had been sick as well. Made it through being in the same house with sick people and things like that. Somehow just to come home and catch the crud that's been floating around Oklahoma at, like, I don't know, Dollar Tree or something. Like, we went shopping as a family, and somewhere along the line, someone sneezed, coughed, something. So if, and I caught it, whatever it was. So if you were at the Walmart grocery store on 134th and like Santa Fe, if you were at the Dollar Tree across from the Moore Walmart, if you were at the McDonald's on 89th and Penn, and you were sick, fuck you. But yeah, whatever. I'm pushing through it. Here I am. This week, I'm also been getting in a lot of good video game time. I'm working the weekend, and so it gave me a couple of days off in the middle of the week. So really been pushing my way playing through Final Fantasy X. I'm probably about a third away through, through the game, and I enjoyed a lot more than I remembered enjoying it. My wife's been kind of watching me play, and she's been saying how cheesy she thinks some of the the dialogue is, which it is. I mean, it's a 20-year-old game. It definitely has some opportunity. I think it would be great if they ever made a remake of it, like Final Fantasy VII. This game was so iconic in its time. It was the first Final Fantasy game that actually had dialogue, like vocal dialogue being used for the game. It was also the first one to introduce that sphere grid system that a lot of other games modeled their character development from. And I think the political storylines in the game, the religious aspects of it, and things like that. Honestly, I see a lot of parallels to the world we live in now. And so I think it would make for a great remake. It's not going to get one, but it did get me thinking about what it would be like with a live action adaptation of it. So I think I might make a future video about some of the Final Fantasy games that are near and dear to my heart, and what I think it would kind of look like with live action adaptations of it, who I would cast, what they could kind of do with it. I think it might be a good little topic to go through. I might see if I can find someone who's a Final Fantasy lover to kind of join me in on that. So, and then lastly, this week I'm prepping, have a fun photo shoot coming up on Sunday, for my wife's birthday. What she wanted to do in lieu of like a party, was to do a cosplay photo shoot where she's going to cosplay Sadness from Inside Out. And she had gathered a whole bunch of other cosplay friends to be the various other characters in this Inside Out photo shoot. So Sunday I'm going to do an Inside Out photo shoot. It's going to be celebrating Sadness's birthday, but we plan on having all the emotions there. I think it'll be some fun content. I think it'll be exciting. Excuse me. So yeah, that was kind of my week. Really kind of slow and boring. But I did get in a lot of good family time, and that was a lot of fun. And so, but this week again, a couple really exciting things that dropped. I have 3 trailers I want to talk about that came out that I think are fun. I think that are exciting, and I think that will ultimately produce some excellent movies here. So we're going to get started. Watched it this morning. I know it came out a few days ago, but watched it this morning. The Jurassic World Rebirth trailer, starring Scarlett Johansson. The last couple of Jurassic World movies, the Chris Pratt franchise, I love Chris Pratt, but the movies just weren't that great, but they were still dinosaurs eating people. So, who's really going to complain about that, right? And so I didn't go into this trailer with any expectations. I love Scarlett Johansson. I was looking forward to seeing more dinosaurs, and I'm very tempted to take my son to see this movie, but I think he's probably just a little bit too young. But overall, I like the trailer. And with going in with no expectation, I'm excited to see this movie. I was excited to see this movie before, but the trailer did what a trailer's supposed to do, and it got me even more excited for the movie. I do think that it felt very grand in scale. Like the scene where the pterodactyl pulls that guy out of the ruins or wherever they're at, right? What's first of all, why, the trailer, and I know it's just a trailer, right? It's the first trailer, so they might explain this stuff, but they talk about in the trailer how this was the research development island for the original Jurassic Park. And that the worst of the dinosaurs were left there, the ones that couldn't be used for the park. So I guess, like, where did the ruins of this temple come from that they were? It didn't quite make sense to me. I mean, maybe they were there before the dinosaurs were placed on there. I don't know. The setting seemed a little odd to me, but with that being said, when he's pulled out of that temple or that ruins or whatever, wherever they're at, when they're trying to get the sample from the egg, and you kind of see, like, him being dragged through the air with the rope and everything, and, like, you know, hovering above all the trees and stuff, it felt large, right? Like, it felt what I think they were going for was the fact that, like, these are humans in the world of dinosaurs. So the world, even though it was on an island, this world felt large with these little tiny humans in it, right? So I think if they were going for kind of a grand scale, I think they hit it. I think the trailer kind of showed that. And I also think the trailer gave a little bit of horror elements and horror vibes. And I think that's like harkens back to the original Jurassic Park, right? Like, yeah, it was a place for our imagination to run wild with dinosaurs, but there was also some really scary horror elements to that first Jurassic Park movie. So it feels like they're kind of going back to that. A little bit of comedic tones, you know, some of the one-liners from Scarlett Johansson and things like that. I do think this movie is going to weigh really heavily on her performance, just like the rest Jurassic World did with Chris Pratt. Now, obviously, she's the lead, but so, you know, that's how most movies are. But I feel like her performance will make or break this movie. And so, but at the end of the day, if it's a crappy movie, we still have dinosaurs and dinosaurs eating people. I didn't care, again, for the whole dialogue of these are the worst of the worst. Like, then where do you go from there, right? Like, they're not starting this movie franchise just to make one movie. Like, they're probably going to want to make a trilogy, right? So this is number 7 of the Jurassic Park world movies. So where do you go from here in regards to, I mean, you know, if they're already the worst of the worst, the rejects, the ones that were too dangerous to go in Jurassic Park, what happens from there? So I guess it'll be interesting. I guess if I'm giving my predictions here, they're probably going to escape the island or you know, I don't know. It's all kind of cliche for the Jurassic Park world movies. It's all kind of the same storylines, but that's fine. You know, we're not looking for the you know, greatest movie of all time here. We're talking about dinosaurs eating people. So I'm looking forward to it. I think it'll be a good movie. And so I really enjoyed the trailer. It did its job. The second trailer that I want to talk about, because the big one, spoilers, Fantastic Four. But the second trailer I want to talk about was, I didn't even realize this movie was coming. And it was the Final Destination Bloodlines trailer. I loved the original Final Destination. I thought it was a great idea. It was a great premise. I was a young teenager whenever it came out. And even to this day, I don't think any of us can drive behind a semi-truck carrying a bunch of logs and not think to ourselves, this is how it ends for me. And so the creative ways, I mean, ultimately the movie franchise is just a bunch of ways that you can die, the horrific ways that you can die. And I think some of them, as the movies progressed, they got a little carried away and a little ridiculous. And I think it was more blood and gore than it was anything else. In this trailer, I gotta tell you, me and my wife watched it together, and the anxiety it induced through this trailer, like the build up and the setup and the uncertainty of what's going to happen to this person, to this tattoo artist who just lost his dad, wants to tattoo dad on his arm in remembrance, seeing the chain whipping around, the fan, and all the things that led up to the fire. It was the most anxious I have ever been watching a trailer. In large part because, look, I only have one piercing. It's my eyebrow piercing. But I am constantly afraid I'm going to get it hooked on something. And so to see that chain whip around and grab onto the man's nose, and it was gross. It was unsettling. It was everything a Final Destination trailer should be. The movie might be garbage. The other deaths in the movie might be dumb. But the trailer, it got me. Like, I'm going to be there to see this movie in the theaters. I might wait a week to get past all the, because if you're in a movie theater, it's a shared experience. Like, I get it, but when you scream and you shout and you know, all that unnecessary shit that people do in movie theaters when it's horror movies, like, I want to bypass that. So I might either go see a super early showing of this movie on opening weekend, or wait a week or so, but I definitely want to see it in theaters, and I want to see it with my wife Scarlett, because she's going to hate every second of it, and I think it would be great. So I thought that trailer fantastic. Really, again, I had no idea the Final Destination movies were coming back, but this one was spot on. Thought it was a great first trailer. So, speaking of first trailers, Fantastic Four First Steps. You know, they dropped a little 30-second teaser of the trailer, the little teaser of the teaser, the day before. And it was really just a bunch of, like, you saw the 60s aesthetic, and this movie isn't our world. So I don't, obviously they're probably not going to mention what year it is, but they wanted to give that futuristic 60s vibe to it. And I just thought they did a really good job in that small teaser to show the fantastical behind the Fantastic Four in this world. I wouldn't be surprised if they're really kind of the only superheroes. It seems to be a lot of fandom when it comes to the world of the Fantastic Four. So, but hopping into the trailer itself, great tones to it. Like, I felt like this, first of all, it felt like an MCU movie. And I think that's a great tone, obviously, for the Fantastic Four. I think for a lot of us fans, that's what, it was missing. Like, the last Fantastic Four movie with Miles Teller was garbage. But the other two, the original two, they were okay. They weren't great, but they were what they were at the time they came out. But this just feels more, again, fantastical. It feels very awe-inspiring. And I think that the performances we're going to see out of Pedro Pascal and the rest of his ensemble, I think, is going to be phenomenal. I think that they're all dialed into these roles. I think they're all excited for these roles. And I think Marvel has an understanding of their first family and how this movie should be made. So I'm looking forward to it. I love the way that the thing looks. I think that going CGI was the way to go. The only thing I don't care for are the oversized rock eyebrows, but that is pretty comic accurate. Whatever, I'm fine with that. I think, I'm nitpicking when it comes to that, but I will tell you what I did love that I think was kind of missing from some of the other adaptations of the thing is every single time he does something, you hear rocks crackle. And I think that that's just a small subtleness that brings a lot of gravitas to the character and to this world. So I thought that was great. I thought the introduction or seeing Herbie for the first time was awesome. The little robot that was in there cooking dinner. I just thought that the whole trailer just put a smile on my face. And obviously you see the big bad. You see Galactus. You see his shadow anyways. I think that, first of all, I'm glad we don't have just a fucking floating cloud in the sky. I'm glad we're past all that. But I think that, I don't know how this movie's going to come out, but I think that introducing Galactus in the first one, we don't have to wait. Sometimes you get these long build-ups for the main villains of these characters, and sometimes it doesn't flush out the way they want it to. We end up waiting, especially with the rate Marvel's pumping out movies right now. Like, if we waited to a third Fantastic Four movie to get Galactus, we might be waiting, 10 years to get to that. So I'm glad we're going to get Galactus right off the bat. No sign of the Silver Surfer in this one. I'm interested to see how the Silver Surfer looks on in the movie, and how the character, especially their mannerisms and their vocalness and things like that. I'm just looking forward to seeing how all that plays out. But pardon the pun, but the Fantastic Four trailer was fantastic. I thought it was amazing. What I didn't care for the trailer had nothing to do with the trailer. It had to do with people's reactions to the way that the trailer looked, to the way that the thing looked, and things like that. And you can not like something, like, that's fine. I'm not telling you that like your opinion isn't valid. It's no more valid or invalid than my opinion. But at the end of the day, like, let's take a second from bitching and complaining about every little fucking thing, and let's just see what the trailer or what the movie has to hold for us. The same people bitching and complaining about the way that the thing looked, or the way that the aesthetic of the movie looked. The same people who were bitching and complaining about having crypto in the Superman trailer, or complaining about the TV spot, or the not TV spot, but the little new trailer that came out for Superman where his face, apparently looked CGI to people when he was flying. It just, the fandom is becoming so toxic, and it's okay, again, to say you don't like something. Like, that's perfectly fine. But to spend all your time in misery, bitching and complaining about it, like, that's where I just, it's annoying, but two, like, I just feel sorry for you. Get your life together. Get your shit together. So, all in all, 3 excellent trailers. I think they're going to make for 3 excellent movies. I'm looking forward to all 3 of them. But I have to tell you, if I'm ranking them 1, 2, and 3, then the Final Destination trailer was the best of the 3 trailers. That was the one that it creeped me the fuck out. And I can't wait to be able to see this movie. So, looking forward to all 3 of them. What were your thoughts? What did you guys think? I love movie trailers. Like they're, especially when they're good, like these 3, they just get you excited for future projects and things to come, like in the worlds that these 3 movies are building. I don't know. I love movies. I love movie trailers. So I'd love to hear what you guys think. So let me know in the comments. How did you feel about these 3 trailers? Which movie are you the most excited to look for? So that kind of wraps it up, guys. I appreciate you dealing with me in my sickness. Hopefully it wasn't too miserable to listen to me clear my throat and cough and all that kind of stuff. So thank you, guys. Thank you for listening. I'll see you guys again on the same Batmandrew time, on the same Batmandrew channel. Thank you, guys.